location, let's focus on communication, cause I just need the time and place to come through. Send me your location, let's ride the vibrations. I don't need nothing else but you.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I showed you how I created this Christmas kind of like icy blue winter wonderlandy kind of vibe makeup. I just filmed the eye makeup for you guys today because I was like, to be honest, I show you the face makeup all the time and I've been having some long videos lately, so I wanted to make it a little bit shorter and just focus on the eyes, which are the focus clearly of today's look. So I really hope that you guys like this one. Thank you guys so much and I hope you enjoy the video. So I applied my foundation, did my brows and primed my eyelids off camera, and for priming my eyelids I used a combination of my Too Faced Born This Way sculpting concealer and my Lasting Perfection concealer just to give a really nice full coverage base. So then I went straight in with the eyeshadows and I started with my BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette, and I went in with this really nice matte blue. It's so pigmented, guys. I was like, wow, like this is amazing. So basically I'm just applying this quite generously into my crease and I'm making sure that I take it all the way to my inner corner and all the way out, because this is like the biggest like base color that we're going to need for this look. So you want to make sure that you're putting enough of it and in all the areas where we're going to need it, stretching across the whole like length of the eye. And I'm taking this up like slightly above my crease as well. Then I'm just taking this clean fluffy brush and I'm using it to just blend out the transition between my brow bone and my crease area, so that color is faded a little bit. Then I'm taking this kind of flatter fluffy brush and I'm taking this really like dark blue, kind of like royal blue, which is a matte shade as well from the same palette, and I'm slotting this in my crease, like I'm slotting it in that eye socket area, if that makes sense. So I'm just taking that back and forth, again applying it right from the inner corner straight out to the outer corner, covering all the bases but not taking the colour as high as the first blue that we used, because we want to show a little bit of an ombre effect. So we want the darker blue to be further down and the brighter blue to be just above that slightly, so that then we can blend them out. So first I'm just packing on the colour so we've got the level of pigment that we want, and then after, when I'm happy with that kind of level, I'm going in and blending that transition between the bright blue and the darker blue just to make that ombre effect really nice and seamless. So you really want to take your time with this, and on this brush I just had the leftover of the light blue shade that we used, because it's best to go in with the lighter shade that you're using to help blend the two colours together. So then we lost some of the intensity to that pigment, so I went back in with the dark blue, making sure to apply this colour further down and not taking it too high, and I'm just using that to really intensify that deep blue. So we've got a nice transition between the light to the dark blues. And creating this effective ombre look between a light and a dark shade is probably like the most key point of a cut crease look. So whenever you've got that contrast really nicely blended, that is when your cut crease always comes out the most crisp looking. So that's just something in general to kind of bear in mind, and it was kind of through trial and error that I realised I always liked the looks when I had the biggest contrast between my crease colours when I was doing a cut crease. So I'm making sure that I'm doing that, which is why I'm really taking my time with this step to make sure I'm happy with the blend of the blues. Then when I was finally happy with that, I went in with my concealer and we were going to cut the crease. So this is just a half cut crease, so I was like half cutting it. But yeah, so I'm taking this concealer brush and I'm going in with my Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and I'm just taking my time to apply like a half moon sort of shape, and I'm taking this slightly above my crease so that there won't be any smudging when you're kind of like moving your eyes around and stuff over the course of the day. So I'm applying this as neatly as I can, and I'm trying to pack the concealer on as opaque as possible so we don't have any of that blue coming through. I wanted it to not be a thin layer but quite thick. Then I wanted to wait for that to dry, so I'm just like fanning it to try and dry that concealer. And then once it's dry, we can go straight ahead and start applying the colours onto our lid. So I went in with a light icy blue shimmer shade from my Beauty Bay Going Out Out palette, and it was the first time I was using this palette and I was really excited. So yeah, I just started packing on that colour. So you need to make sure not to go above where the concealer line is so it doesn't venture into the crease area. So strictly sticking to the lids, I went and packed this onto probably like the first half or third of the inner corner of my lid, if that makes sense. And I just went over that a few times to make the colour and the pigment really come out as intensely as possible. So I repeated that on the other eye as well, and then I took another metallic blue shade from the same palette, which is more of like a mid-tone blue, and I applied this right next to it and fading it into the outer corner. And this is going to be like the middle colour between the light and the darks on the lid. So this just helps that ombre transition be repeated onto the lid. Then I went in with a darker, more royal blue, which was in a shimmer shade, and I applied this to the outer third of my eyelid, and I blended that to the two other blues that we already applied onto the lid. So you want to take your time with this and make sure that you're applying the darkest metallic blue to the most outer corner and don't take it too far inwards. Then when I was happy with that, I went in with a smaller fluffy brush and I took the matte blues that we used before and I added a bit of matte black in there as well. And I used that to just intensify the outer crease part and also the outer corner of where the lid is. So this is just generally gonna kind of up the vamp on the look and emphasize the contrast that we've got in the whole eye look. So then I just went and finished up the rest of my face makeup off camera, and then it was time to move on to the lower lash line. So I started by just taking the flat brush that we used before, and I took the first light blue shade that we used on the crease, and I connected the outer corner of my top lid and kind of joined that like below my lower lash line. So I wanted to connect that and just slowly smoke out the lower lash line, but on like the outer corner. So I wasn't afraid of how far I was taking out this colour because I wanted a really nice kind of winged effect with the eyeshadow. I didn't want it to look like it was separated and segmented from the top lid, and I wanted it all to look like quite nicely put together. And because of the detailing that we're going to be putting on after, you want to make sure that you've got enough of your outer corner of the eye with enough of a dark blue colour so that the white eyeliner is going to show up on top. Then I basically took the lightest shimmer shade that we used on the lid and I applied this to like the first half of my lower lash line on the inner corner just to brighten up that area and contrast to the smoky lower lash line that we've got on the outer corner. So I just made sure that I blended that transition as well as I could so it didn't look like it was a completely separate section. Right, now it's time for the exciting bit. So I went in with this NYX white liquid eyeliner and I used this to just add in all of the details of the snowflake. So I started by just drawing this kind of semicircle which is going to be the center of the snowflake, and I wanted it to be on like the outer corner of my eye. And then I started by just generally drawing the structure of the snowflake so that I knew everything would be like as symmetrical as I wanted it to be, and or just have like the right structure, because once the basis is right you can go in and add the details after and then you know that it's heading in the right direction. So I added those 4 longer stems and then I went in and added some shorter ones in between them. And you want to take your time with this because there's no rush and this is basically going to make or break the look, like no pressure. So then I just went and added on some little like tails, I don't know what to call them, but like the little flicks on like the strands of the snowflake, and this is what makes the biggest difference because it's all in the little details. So if you just take your time and be as precise as possible, then that's what's really going to make the look come out with the biggest impact at the end. And honestly, this really isn't as difficult as it looks. If you just know what you're doing and stick to it, it's not very challenging because they're all straight lines and it's all symmetrical. And honestly, if you just don't panic, take your time, you guys got this. Like, it was a lot simpler than I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be like really difficult and I was kind of freaking out, but it
it wasn't too bad. The only thing is that area that I'm doing now on the lower lash line, that was probably the hardest because my lower lashes were just getting in the way and I kept painting them white and that's not what I wanted to do. But anyway, once I waited for that to dry, I went in with my highlighter and just highlighted my brow bone and my inner corner to just tie in the face and the eye look all together. Then I chose some lashes that weren't too heavy because I wanted the detailing of the snowflake to be seen through the lashes and I didn't want it to be too kind of intense. So I applied them and then I just took my Soap and Glory mascara and applied that to my lower lashes.
Okay guys, that is the finished look. You know what? I am actually so happy with the way that this came out. I don't think I can even remember the last time I did a makeup look that I was this happy with. Like, I'm so proud of it and I really hope that you guys liked this tutorial. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next one. Mwah. Bye.